We are finishing up section 2.4 today, talking about parallel and perpendicular lines. So as you know, parallel lines are lines that go on forever and never touch. What you may not remember is that they have the exact same slopes. So for an example here, I put y equals 3x plus 4 and y equals 3x minus 1. Those are in the form of slope-intercept, so that's mx plus b. So the m's are the slope, so 3 is slope in both. So the equations tell us that both, if we graph those lines, they would be parallel. Perpendicular lines are lines that cross and form 90-degree angles. They have slopes that are opposite reciprocals. And what that means is that if we multiply them together, we're going to get -1. Even easier thing to think about is if you look at my example here, I have y equals 2/5 x plus 3 and y equals -5/2x minus 4. So the slope on the first one is 2/5. The slope on the second one is -5/2. So it's simply reciprocals, which just means flipped of the fraction. And one has to be positive and one has to be negative. So that tells you that your slope or your lines will be perpendicular. So for example 1 here, it says write an equation of the line in slope-intercept form. And part A is parallel to y equals 1.5x plus 6 and through the point 4, 5. So in order to be parallel, the slopes have to be the same, and the slope of this line is 1.5. So we have the slope, or the m value, and then we have an ordered pair. We have x and y. So when we have a point and we have the slope, we have to use what's called the point-slope form that we learned about last week, which looks like this. So then we have to plug in what we know. We know m is 1.5. And we know x1 is 4 and y1 is 5. So we have y minus 5 equals 1.5 times x minus 4. And then because it wants it in slope-intercept form, this is point-slope form, we are going to have to distribute the slope. So we're going to have 1.5x. And 1.5 times a -4 is going to be, and that is -6. And then we're going to bring the y minus 5 down over here. And then our last and final step here is to add 5 to both sides. So these cancel, we just have y equals, we bring down that 1.5x, and -6 plus 5 would be a -1. So the equation that would be parallel to the given equation up there is y equals 1.5x minus 1. For part B, we have to do perpendicular to y equals -3/4 x plus 2, and it's got to go through the point of 6, -4. So for this one, our slope is -3/4, and we have a point here of 6, -4. So we're going to use the point slope form again. And if it's perpendicular to -3/4, that one is negative, so our new slope is going to be positive, and we're going to flip 3/4. It's going to become 4/3. And our x value is, our x value is 6, so it's going to be x minus 6. And our y value is -4, so minus a negative is going to turn to a positive, so y plus 4. And then I'm going to distribute the 4/3. So I'm going to have 4/3 x. We have 4/3 times -6. So if you think about 6 as a fraction, 6/1, we would have 4 times 6 at the top, which would be 24. 3 times 1 at the bottom would be 3. So 24 divided by 3 would be 8. And that would be a -8. And we're going to bring down the y plus 4 here. And then since that's a plus 4, we're going to minus 4. So we're going to have y equals 4/3 x, and -8 and -4 make -12. And then for a review question, I have find the slope that goes through these 2 points. of the line. So we're going to use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Remember, you have point number 1 and point number 2. So y from your second minus y from your first. So -2 minus 0. And then x from your second minus x from your first would be -6 minus 5. So the top would simplify to be -2 and the bottom simplifies to be -11. Since they're both negative, that means they cancel and they would be positive. So the slope of this line would be 2/11. And then write the equation of the line with slope 4 that goes through this point of 1, -2 in slope-intercept form. So again, we're going to use that y minus y1 since we're given a point and a slope. Slope is 4, x is 1, and y is -2, so that's going to turn into a +2. Distribute that 4, so that's 4x, and 4 times -1 would be -4. Bring this down. -2 from both sides, so this is y equals 4x, -4 and -2 make -6. Another way we could have done this is we could have went right to the y equals mx plus b form. And our slope is 4, so we knew this. Our x is 1, and y is -2. So we need to figure out what b is. So if I simplify this, 4 times 1 is 4. And then I'm going to have to minus 4 from both sides. So that would be -6. And these cancel, so we have b. And then rewrite our b and our m in the equation. So we would have 4x and then -6 was our b. So that works as well. So whichever one is easier for you, makes more sense to you, you can use the point slope form, or you could actually go straight to the mx plus b slope intercept form and plug in what you know and solve for the b and then rewrite your equation.